But if you are Jewish, regardless of Israel, if you're Jewish, if you vote for a Democrat, you're a fool, an absolute fool.
Now, obviously, you shouldn't get too emotional about this, but why is the former guy, the former losing president of the United States of America, why is he allowed to make anti-Jewish comments, anti-Semitic comments, and nobody says anything? What gives him the right to be so derogative, so judgmental? If anybody else said literally 2% of what he said, there would be outrage. I do not understand it at all. It is 2024. It is straightforward hate. What he said about Kamala Harris's husband is appalling. That's not acceptable. It just isn't. No, except for a few people on Blue Tick Twitter, they love anything like this. They can regurgitate it. They'll get more eyes than the rubbish they normally put out, etc., etc. But in the real world, this is not a left or right, Democratic or Republican thing. This is just straightforward hate speech. Appreciate Elon Musk probably thinks it's great. I don't. It's disgusting.
Any Jewish person that voted for her or him or whoever it's going to be, I assume it's going to be her, anybody that did that should have their head examined. If you love Israel or if you're Jewish, because a lot of Jewish people do not like Israel, and they happen to be in New York. You know that.
Yes.
But if you are Jewish, regardless of Israel, if you're Jewish, if you vote for a Democrat, you're a fool, an absolute fool. They have let Jewish people down since Obama at levels that nobody could believe possible. 15 years ago, the strongest lobby in all of Washington was Israel. It was by far the strongest. Nobody would say anything bad about Israel. Today, it's like nobody says anything good, except Republicans, by the way. Nobody says anything good about it. So it's a hell of a change. I assume you know exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
15 years ago, you couldn't say a bad thing.
No.
You'd be out of office.
Yeah.
And today, it's almost like, Schumer has become a Palestinian. Chuck Schumer is officially now a Palestinian.
It's funny, but it's true. It's sad. He is. And they tell me that this Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, Mr. President, is Jewish. He's Jewish like Bernie Sanders is Jewish. Are you kidding me? He's a crappy Jew. Yeah. He's a horrible Jew.
They're also attacking you for other ridiculous reasons. They're saying that you said to a crowd of Christians that they won't have to vote in the future.
Yeah, let me say what did I mean by that. I had a tremendous crowd speaking to Christians. This was a crowd that liked me a lot. I think I'm at 97% or something. And they're treated very badly by this administration, okay? Catholics are treated unbelievably. They're like persecuted. And if I might say, before I go into the other, Jewish people, if you're Jewish and you vote for Biden or the Democrats or Kamala or whoever's going to run, I guess it's going to be her. But if you voted for her or the Democrats, you should have your head examined, because nobody's ever been treated so badly by this. This administration is destroying Israel, et cetera, et cetera. So with respect to like a statement like I made, that statement is very simple. I said, vote for me. You're not going to have to do it ever again. It's true. Because we have to get the vote out. Christians are not known as a big voting group. They don't vote. And I'm explaining that to them. You never vote. This time, vote. I'll straighten out the country. You won't have to vote anymore. I won't need your vote. You can go back to
you meant you don't have to vote for you because you have 4 years in office.
Look. Christians are known. You know who else doesn't vote? Gun owners don't vote.
But just to be clear, what you're saying, though, you're not saying it's being interpreted as you are not surprised to hear.
No,
by the left as well. They're never going to have another election. He's saying there's not. So
first time I've even heard.
Can you even just respond to that?
I said Christians. I started off by saying, just so you understand, you never vote. Christians do not vote well. They vote in very small percentages. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're disappointed in things that are happening. But for a long time, I say, you don't vote. I'm saying, go out. You must vote. November 5th is going to be the most important election in the history of our country. Whether you vote early or not, we should have, by the way, one-day voting. We should have voter ID. We should have proof of citizenship. And we should have paper ballots, okay? That's what we should have. But we don't have that. But I said to the Christians in the room, thousands of them, I said, Typically, Christians do not vote. Why it is, I don't know. You're rebellious. Something's going on. Don't worry about the future. You have to vote on November 5th. After that, you don't have to worry about voting anymore. I don't care, because we're going to fix it. The country will be fixed, and we won't even need your vote anymore, because frankly, we will have such love. If you don't want to vote anymore, that's okay. And I think everybody understood it. I didn't know there was any.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it's.
I'm so into it. I read a lot, and I see things that you wouldn't have normally noticed. The level of hatred they have for Israel is just incredible. But when you have guys like Schumer and you have politicians actually going to the other side, I guess they figured maybe there's more votes or something. 15 years ago, the strongest lobby in the United States of America was Israel. You couldn't say a bad thing about Israel. If you said anything bad about Israel, you were out of politics. If Lee was, and he was a very popular politician, but if you said something bad about Israel, you were gone. You wouldn't have had a chance. Today, it's almost the opposite. People, Jewish people that are elected officials, like Schumer, are afraid to say anything good about Israel. They say everything good about the protesters at Columbia University. They're sticking up for them. And by the way, do you notice nothing happens to them? J6 hostages go to jail for years, but nothing happens to the fact that they desecrated the hell out of this school and landed for Trump. If we don't have Jewish people voting for Republicans, including people in the House and including people in the Senate, you're not going to have Israel for very long. I'm telling you, you're not going to have it for very long. The other thing is this. You have many people that are Jewish people in this country that hate Israel. Somebody's got to teach these people that Israel is a good thing, not a bad thing. You have people at the New York Times run essentially by a Jewish family, and they hate Israel. They treat them so badly. I read articles, and now that I'm so into it, I read a lot, and I see things that you wouldn't have normally noticed.
Rabbi, you think what Trump is doing is not just dangerous for Jews, but for democracy. Why?
Yeah, that's right, Dana. I mean, first of all, these comments are totally on brand for Trump. It is an attempt to really bully and shame American Jews into voting for him. And he's trying to stir fear and paranoia among American Jews. It's not going to work. American Jews historically vote very solidly Democratic and also really dislike intensely the former president. That's not going to change now. In fact, most American Jews don't share Trump or Bibi's vision for Israel, and certainly don't share Trump's vision for America. So the greater concern right now is not that he's going to be successful in convincing American Jews not to vote Democratic. The greater concern that I have right now is that anti-Semitism is not only dangerous for Jews, but is truly dangerous for democracy. And the reason why is because anti-Semitism really is a form of racism that functions differently from other racisms that we know well here in America. It's rooted in conspiracy theories about Jewish domination and about Jewish power. It's always been an excuse for why something other than the people who are in power are responsible for suffering in the world. And so throughout history, anti-Semitism has been used as a kind of wedge to break apart pro-democracy coalitions. And I think that's what he's trying to do right now, to stir up anti-Semitism, especially in a moment of political instability, to really break apart that civil rights coalition that has been so strong in this country for so many years.